Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, Piers Austin, and we are coming to you live from Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and on YouTube. But also, I would just like to make a special thank you to WCW Nation. WCW Nation, Generational Wrestling Society, and Wrestling Maniacs for allowing me to stream this in their group as well to make my audience so much more bigger. Also, I would just like to say a special thank you to our sponsors. So tonight we are sponsored by Signal Studios, which is a recording studio here in Sydney, Australia. They make music, they have a rehearsal space, they have a recording space as well. So, if you may be a professional wrestler, you want some new entrance music, my boy Rafi can hook you up. Or if you have a song you want mastered, or you just want, you're locked in, you want some music to write your own song to, hit up Rafi on Signal Studios on Facebook and he'll be able to hook you up. Also, our other special sponsors are Mayan Belts. So Mayan Belts make the best championship belts in the world. If you want a custom championship belt or you'd like a replica of your favorite championship belt, you can hit up Eddie and Ira Williams on Facebook and they'll be able to point you in the right direction and organize you and get you a great belt at an affordable price. Also, I'd like to thank A-Rock Designs, Ashley Rodriguez over at A-Rock Design. She makes custom cups, tumblers, hoodies, t-shirts, keychains, you name it, she makes it. And it's all got a wrestling theme to it. Well, not all of it. She can do whatever you like. I've actually got 3 cups coming from her. So I've got one for my daughter, one for my son, and one for me. My one is going to be a wrestling related one. The kids' ones will be some kid shit that they're into that I'm getting, but I'll definitely make sure to show everyone that. But we're going to throw it into my guest this evening. He is the current IWA heavyweight champion. He is the Cowboy, Chris Abbott. Chris, how you going, buddy?
Good, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm pretty good. It's great to see you come here tonight and shoot the shit with me, so to speak. How's everything been going? How's life treating you, bud?
Yeah, not too bad. This COVID-19's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works with my wrestling, but even with work, it's thrown a spanner in the works. I've got went from 5 days to 2 days, so it's a bit, a bit tight. But it is what it is.
Yeah, look, it's definitely. This COVID thing, we're lucky in Australia that the numbers are starting to sort of, be fewer and fewer each day. And, I think everyone just needs to do what they are told, and that's stay the fuck inside.
Exactly. And don't go to the beach, not 2 people going to the shops to do the shopping. Just think before you do things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, if everyone does that and everyone lives by that mindset, Chris, we're going to be back to seeing more wrestling shows and seeing you on the IWA cards. So
yeah, I'll get a few more defenses under my belt. I think I've only had about 13 in the time I've held the belt, but I'm keen to, get out there and, defend the belt again.
Is that the belt behind you just there, Chris?
Yes, that is the belt. That's the 22-year-old IWA Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. I remember when they debuted that belt. I was actually at the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a friend of mine used to wrestle for them years ago, which we talked about. And, yeah, they actually had – remember the old Trans-Tasman title with the red IWA big thing? Yeah. That was that was the title for a long time, I think.
Yeah, and it was heavy. It was heavy. When I held the Trans-Tasman – a couple of years back now, and the first championship it was the old IWA Heavyweight Championship with a plate over it. But yeah, it was so heavy. It looked like everyone used to say it was like a tuna can. It just was ugly. And
yeah, I remember seeing the first Trans-Tasman title match as well. That was
oh really? Jeez.
Billy Cole and Jason Hilton at Sydney Uni, I think it was.
The Hammer Hilton.
Yeah. The Canadian. So we're going to go to our audience who's got a couple of questions. First is from Luke Abbott. So I'm not sure if he's any relation to you or not, Chris, but he said, like so many wrestlers, Cowboy, do you think you may get into acting when you retire?
That's my uncle. I knew we'd get on. No, I'd love to, but I'm I used to think I had confidence back when I was a teenager, and then I was like, when I wrestle, I'll be able to do promos. I won't be scared of the camera, nothing. And then I am not that good at promos. I'm like, no, go to water. But like, I would love to be an actor, but I just don't think the cards fall that way for me. I think the 2 kids, that'll be where after I finish wrestling full time. I would like to stay in it with with IWA and like just Australian scene and hopefully like right now we're all building the platform for like the next for it to skyrocket and be like on a network and have everyone train and be looked after, kind of like how like WWE that's the measuring stick, but like Australia, like we're behind, but like we are on the rise.
I mean, you look at England, you know what I mean, and the UK as the scene over there. That's booming. That's booming over there, and it could be booming over here in Australia as well. It's there's definitely the talent, and it's you're seeing that. You're seeing that in
much talent.
You're seeing the talent coming out of Australia, like Jonah Rock, aka Bronson Reed, the Iconics, Buddy Murphy. Even Mikey Nichols, who's just come back, So
and like look at who's just Slex and Adam Brooks just went over to Ring of Honor, man. Moretti and Bonza and Paris, like they've all been to PWG. Like there's so many people going over there, and they're just like they get their notice. Like I think Moretti did this thing, you're going to notice us. It's like this hashtag that started going off, and now it's like people are just getting behind it. But I think this COVID-19's kind of like halted it, like in a massive way, because no one can do shows. Which sucks. And you can't even train like people usually train, every night of the week or 2 nights a week, whatever, at a facility. But now they can't even do that. So it's kind of like put them, I don't know, maybe a step back in a way because we don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah. And look, I think it's as we were mentioning, the COVID-19, the numbers here in Australia are getting down and fewer each day. If everyone just stays doing what they're doing and staying the fuck at home, as I said earlier, is hopefully we're going to see you back in a ring very soon, and we're going to start seeing some wrestling shows and seeing some restrictions lifted.
It'll be good when the restrictions do get lifted. I don't think it'll go straight back to where it was, but it'll be like, all right, doors are open, clubs can start booking events again, and like we'll start getting oh hey, do you want to book your show back in and do this and do that, and it'll slowly get back to where it was. I don't think it'll go guns a blazing like boom, COVID-19's over, let's go back to wrestling. It won't be the first thing on everyone's mind, but it will get back to it.
Absolutely. So Kevin Rodriguez, who's a friend of mine who does a show similar to this, he has a question. Can we get a close-up of the belt? Chris?
Close-up of the belt. Oh, there's me shirt.
Look at that. That is a gorgeous-looking belt, man. That is gorgeous.
It is. It's a good looking belt.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Definitely is. So Kevin is an avid belt collector. I think he's got like 50 belts in his collection, which puts me to shame with my 2 behind me here. So Andrew Baker says good evening, and Kevin Rodriguez says Rhea Ripley. And Andrew says, how do you forget Rhea Ripley? I apologize, gentlemen. I was just rattling off names. So Tame from Utah says, what's up? WCW for life. Okay.
He must be a Mark Mercedes fan. He must know him from back in the day when he was in WCW.
Yeah, exactly. So, you were talking before. You were trained by a former guest of mine that I had on, Mr. TNT.
Yes.
So you were trained. How was your training when you got into wrestling, man?
Oh, it was. I thought I was going to go in there, bang. Yeah, I know what I'm doing because, like, I was always an athlete. Like, so I was a cross country runner, good at athletics. Went to like state level with all that, and then I was soccer, tennis, swimming, and then I went into rugby league, and I was like, cool. Used to fight, like, not in an octagon or a ring, like I'd bar fight and on the football field and stuff. So I was like, oh, like I can do this. And then, you know, first bump, I was like, oh shit. I was like, fuck, like you got to throw yourself down and knock the wind out of yourself. And I'm like, wow. So it was like an eye opener, but I was like, yeah, I'm keen to do it again. Like, and that's, you know, I persisted and I was like, I knew I could do it. I think it took me a while to just, you know, pick up the knack of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, good old TNT, the good old AWF days that I think it was the Minto Dojo.
The Minto,
Like
yeah, because they're out west, I think. They were, Minto, or I think they're at Blacktown now.
Yeah, I think he's at Blacktown. I wouldn't know whereabouts in Blacktown, but somewhere around Blacktown area is.
Yeah, so you wrestled a couple of matches with AWF, and then you parted ways, and you started wrestling all over the place, mate.
I just got my I don't know. Everyone used to I did seminars, so I did seminar with Tommy Dreamer. I did one with Shelton Benjamin, Chavo, and they always the whole three of them. The one thing they always said. It doesn't matter how many people are there, like what promotion it is. The only way you get better is to be in the ring and work in front of a crowd. If it's 10 people or it's 300-400 people, like you need the experience to kind of gauge and work in that environment to know what to do and what not to do. And I just so I just kind of went everywhere. I went down to Canberra, I think it was ICW down there. I went up to Newey Pro, and they used to do a thing because after AWF, I went to the Australian Pro Wrestling Gym that kind of branched out from AWF with Lee Leslie and Diego, and they were both both wrestlers with AWF as well. And they built this little Australian Pro Wrestling Gym in Penrith, and we were all kind of going to these promotions, just trying to get on, and we're doing the ring crew, helping out. They're like, oh, we'll do I think Newcastle Pro did they were 6 man. So it was Newey Pro versus the Australian Pro Wrestling Gym, and we got 5-6 minutes. So it was awesome. And then we went. It was PWA come into it. Then it was the three little school things, and we just had little spots on the show, which was fun. We were on the show, so we thought we were oh yeah, we're on. But it was I think it was more them putting us out there to see how we were, what we were like. You see if we shit the bed or we didn't, but it was just to me, I look back, I'm I was rubbish back then, but I was it was an opportunity, so it was I took it. So, which was,
but yeah, that's the thing. You understood that when you started, everyone is not good at professional wrestling, and you made mention. You thought, I'll get in there, I'll take a bump or two, and I'll be like, she's sweet as I'll be fantastic.
Yeah, but, exactly. And one thing I did when I started, so I got in there and it was hard to get used to, but because I've always had experience in fight styles like MMA and Muay Thai and kickboxing. So I always found it hard to work a punch. So I'd go in there and stiff the guy, and I'd work stiff for I don't know, probably the first 6 months or so. Everyone's like, man, you need to stop stiffing people. I'm like, well, aren't we making it I want to make it believable? And my character, when I come in, I wasn't the Cowboy. I was an MMA character. I was the derailer. And I was well, my idea is I'm going to go in there and derail everyone by knocking them out and beating the piss out of them. But then and people kind of nah. And then when I kind of started clicking, I was wow, I was hated, which was good, but I was I don't want to be hated. I want to kind of be able to, do my fighting that I can really do, and morph it into something where it's going to be, wrestling. It's good, the good mix of it. Yeah, I did for a while there, but then I just got, I was I'm not getting anywhere with my character, so I had to flick it really. Yeah, and just become an extension of myself. Just I was I'm from the country. I wear jeans, blue singlet. I got cowboy hats in the cupboard. I got boots. I'm wow, there's just to be myself. Just chuck cowboy in front of my name. Yeah, and it was so easy. I did it. When did I do it? 2015, I think, at the Denny Ute Muster. We went and we were on, and I was said to Mark, I was oh, hey, what do you reckon if I just, wrestle in jeans and my blue singlet? And he's try it. And it just was me. They were that's you. Why haven't you been doing this, for the last 12 months? I'm because I, just didn't think it'd work. And then, and now all these years later, 5 years later, I've had I've had so many opportunities, and just work with so many good talent, and like I've won belts and traveled.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely
all
one
up
of the
and
top,
down the coast.
yeah, you're definitely one of the top guys in the country in professional wrestling, and there's no doubt about that. And yeah, that's the thing you mentioned, being you're stiffing people, and I had a couple of pro wrestling training sessions years and years ago, and that was the same thing. Like I come from a similar background with boxing and Muay Thai and whatnot, and I found the same thing about holding that punch back, because when you train your whole life in boxing or Muay Thai, you're trained to throw each punch to either set something up or to knock someone out. So,
Yeah.
I can definitely understand like the mentality of then changing that and being like, oh no, I'm, barely going to touch the guy, or that sort of thing. It takes a while to get used to.
Oh, 100%. Like I there's the odd time every now and then, like I might let one slip, but it's just like you're just so used to the motion of like, all right, following through. You're not pulling up and kind of working the punch, but like it's just like that's why everyone says like I hate when people say wrestling's fake. I'm like, it's not fake. Like it's an art form. It's more like it's like acting. Everyone's like, oh, no one says acting's fake, but like it's the same thing. Like we're all out there to protect each other, but yes, we're out there to tell stories with our bodies.
It's a performance. It's a performance.
Exactly.
It's essentially a simulated fight scene, really.
Yeah. And like I like how, what did I see the other day? Everyone going on about how Ronda Rousey come out and with the controversial comments about the fake wrestling's fake, and like
she's working everybody.
Oh, 100%. Like
she's working everybody.
She's and they're all biting. They're all like, oh, that bitch, she's ungrateful. She's this, she's that.
Come on, you don't go from like a month ago saying like WWE is family and blah blah blah. Fuck them. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And like what the reason would be, she would want to come back, but they said no to Ronda Rousey. No, like she's working everybody.
She's working everybody.
She'll be back in a couple of months.
Yeah, and like I think it'll be like they're just gonna kind of get them why everything's kind of like nothing's really happening, like massive, like with no crowds and everything there. And as soon as she steps foot in that arena in 3-4 months time, it'll be like her and the Horsewomen versus Charlotte and the Horsewomen. It'll be just like a big moment probably for the girls. So
yeah. So you're a big wrestling fan as well. It's not just you sort of got into wrestling just because footy didn't work.
Footy didn't work, but like I think I was 10, and I like watched the Rumble and The Rock come out, and I was like, "Well, who's this guy?" And I was like, just hooked from then. And it's just been So like now I'm like almost 33, so like good 23 years of wrestling. I did not know anything. Like all the boys hang shit. Like they'll be like, "Hey, do you know who? What's his name? John Moxley is." Like when he was in WWE as Dean Ambrose, I'm like, "Oh no." Like I just know when they're in WWE, I know them. Because I don't follow like New Japan, and like I didn't even know about New Japan, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, all the boys, and they talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, you just watch the network, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's all I grew up with in the country." So I'm like, "That's all I know."
Wow. So have you started getting into like other stuff like NWA and Ring of Honor and?
I just little clips and stuff that come up like. Now I know who Will Ospreay is in the last couple of years. Ever since he's been out in Australia, I was like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And then like just Google him, look him up, and all the boys.
Only one of the greatest to do it in the world currently.
Yeah, and then like I remember, when I started at Australian Pro Wrestling Gym, I was like, the boys were like, "Oh, here's PWG's like greatest matches and stuff," and like I think there was Ricochet, Roderick Strong, all that, like the guys who are kind of in WWE now. But I was watching them back then. I was watching them like a couple of years back, and I was like, "Wow, these guys are really good." And they're like, "Oh, they've been around for years." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Oh, I thought they were just this guy's
up and
trying to make it." Yeah, I was just like, I was so in the dark, and everyone's like, "Oh, you don't even know what this is or who that is," and I'm like, "No, don't know." And then they make it to WWE, they rebrand them, and they go, "There's that guy I was telling you about," and I was like, "Oh, really? Fuck! Oh, I know that guy now." So yeah.
So have you? But it hasn't triggered you to want to go and find anything more out of the WWE bubble. It's just like.
I do sometimes like so. I love Cesaro. Like
Oh,
I've loved Cesaro the whole time he's been in WWE. So when I went to WrestleMania 29, and like I wasn't a massive fan of him then, but I watched him and he was in all how they do all the stuff at Fan Access, and he was wrestling. He was a United States champ back then. And I was like, wow, this guy is like, there's just something about him, and I was like, I like that guy, but like I didn't know he existed back all these years ago and on the Indies, and he was like awesome.
him and Chris Hero, the kings of wrestling.
Yeah, yes. Oh, I knew about that only because like I formed a tag team with Josh Gatt back. He was Australian Pro Wrestling Gym as well. Yeah, and when we started going out and getting bookends, I was like, oh, we should become like a tag team. And I'm like, I like to knock people out, like like kind of knock people out sometimes, but like let's just make it a thing. And I'm like, I love Cesaro, and he's like, and I think he kind of said, oh, let's just let's be like something like the Kings of Wrestling. I'm like, fuck the Kings of Wrestling. Like you can't like be the same as them. I'm like, let's be the Kings of KO. And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you just have to start knocking people out, Gat. And he. He's okay, I'll work on it, but like and it was kind of like but that was my little thing, like Kings of Wrestling. I was like, oh, Kings of KO. It was like we were nowhere near as good as them, but like I was like, it's a cool little nod to like something that like I found out about someone I really like in wrestling.
Yeah, no, Cesaro was he has an interesting story, man. He came over the United States on like a lottery that they have in Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he a lot of people think he like WWE just plucked him out of Switzerland, but he actually was in the US Indies for years before WWE picked him up, like Ring of Honor, CCW, IWA Mid South. He was working a lot, but
he's unreal. I don't know, like I just don't know why he's not used better. I hate that he's not used better, but he's so like everything he does, he's awesome. Like I love it.
Oh, absolutely. So Daniel Powerman, sorry. Hey fellas, how you doing? I'm doing well, Chris.
Yeah,
I think you're doing well.
I'm good. I'm doing good.
You're doing good. All right, Cowboy. Did you enjoy feuding with Jackson Kelly?
Jackson Kelly.
Who?
Yeah. No.
That's what I thought you were doing. I was like, wow, we're gonna get some heat from Jackson on this one tonight.
Like it's not over. Like there's like so much more that we can do. Like it's like we had like the match that we were going into before this COVID-19 was actually like 3 stages. Our final encounter, like because he's had I'll say 3 or 4 shots since I've been heavyweight champ, and like he's come up short every time. So yeah, like I haven't like there's always been a new no, like there's kind of like we're doing something and then we change it, and there's always been added layers to it. Like we're not just just working with each other just to tell the same old story all the time. Like we're trying to add different layers to the story, and and like I thought like that was going to be a big cool match to see where we go from there and what happens. But like it's not over. Like I enjoy feuding with Jackson. Like he's trained by what's his name? Seth Rollins. Like he come from Black and Brave.
Mm-hmm.
But like he's just different. Like he's different to work with compared to other guys I've worked with in the past. But like we've just like when we clicked straight away, it was weird. Like he was on the show. Oh, it was like Hexham, IWA Hexham. We did like a show up there. Like hostile. It was actually called Hostile Territory. That's why it was so cool. Like 3 years later, or 2 years later, 3 years later, it was Hostile Territory, but it was a different venue. It was Hornsby, and we're gonna have this massive match. I'm like, wow! Like the first time we kind of met each other was at Hostile Territory, and now like 3 years later, we're like gonna main event the show with this big match, and like go this direction or that direction, whatever we're gonna do, and like it's just. He's just like, I don't know. There's just something about him. Like, I don't think he's the best in ring, but he can promo. He's got that character of the beach bum. Like he's got like I think we all say it to each other. Is like he's got a presence about him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you haven't, I encourage everyone to go and check out Jackson Kelly promo, and obviously the build up between you two. You can see a couple of little promo bits on YouTube there as well, but. How do you find the Australian wrestling scene at the moment? Like, obviously, let's take Corona out of it, right? So, say Corona never happens, the Australian pro wrestling scene, how it was before the pandemic. Would you say it was healthy? Would you say it was, struggling? What would you say about it?
I reckon it was like what I say. It was boom, and like we were in the bubble of like this is the time to be a pro wrestler in Australia. It's like there was a lot of intakes that like I heard like PWA, like they were like getting massive sign-ups every time they had tryouts and stuff. And Newcastle Pro, like I was hearing like they had heaps of tryouts as well, which is awesome. Like people that like obviously see our product with everyone who's doing it in like New South Wales, it's just crazy to think like, oh wow, they see us and they want to sign up and they want to learn to be a pro wrestler, and like if they make it, then they can be on the show. So like I think it's good that like we had the intake of people, but like sometimes I think like there's so many, like I only know I'm only speaking for New South Wales, like there's so many wrestlers, but there's like it's like limited spots. Like so PWA, like they've got a good talent roster like across the board.
They got a very healthy roster.
Yeah,
they've got probably one of the best rosters in the country. Like
yeah, exactly. Like they use guys here in IWA. So like Kelly come over, or he come back from the States, and then he kind of was on IWA, and no one knew who he was. But now he's Newey Pro and he's PWA. Like obviously he fits the mold, or like he's got something to offer. Like sometimes. Like people ask me, like, would you like to work PWA? Would you like to work Newey again? I'm like, yeah, it's just, I think a lot of guys don't understand that. Like, I've got 2 kids and I'm married and I've got a mortgage. So it's like, I can't really be, driving up the highway or, driving into the city all the time. But like, I wouldn't rule it out, like to go back there. Like, I'd love to go back there, but, they have, like you said, they've got their massive healthy talent pool that they can pick from. Plus, they've got their training academy where they do their, the Newey Pro do the Hoos. I know, like the Hoos is awesome. Like I've been up there a couple of times, and then PWA got I think it's Green Label or something they do from their training facility as well. So like it's another cool little thing for them.
Yeah, look, they're definitely been a promotion that's growing. I mean, the Eagles come out of there. And they've had some big names go through that promotion as well. But yeah. So IWA, how did you get involved with IWA?
I was kind of through the Australian Pro Wrestling Gym. So I think it was kind of like Mark Mercedes. He had the IWA, but he never had anyone kind of attached to like a training thing attached to it. And we kind of like a thing kind of started happening with a few of the guys. Started hustling for bookings and stuff. And then I remember, I'll say 2014, like late 2014, like one of the guys I used to knock about with, Keegan, he said, hey, boys, you should come to the IWA show. It was a St. John's Park Bowling Club. And we're like, yeah, like what's close? Like instead of going to, up to Newcastle or, doing Hunter Valley or down to the ICW in Canberra and that, we're like, oh, it's close. So yeah, let's go. So we got there, did ring crew, and then Tyson Gibbs was like the top dog.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, get in the ring. And there was probably like 6 or 8 of us, and just, put us through our paces, and we were like, fuck. Like this guy's like, and back then, like we walked in and Gibbs was an ass. Like we were like, fuck this guy. But like he just wanted to see if we really wanted to be there. So like we got in, did everything he wanted. And then they were like, all right, we'll give you the opportunity. We'll put you in a battle royal. And we're like, fuck, yeah, sweet. And that's where it started. Like at the end of the show, I was like, that is fucking shit. Like there was 8 of us, and they wanted us to be. I think, who was it? Birdman was back in the Birdman.
Phil Picasso.
Yes, they were like, whoever wins the Birdman Battle Royal will be his partner. And B-Boy was in it. So fucking B-Boy won after Birdman come and eliminated everyone. And I was like, what the I was hot. I was like, this is fucking shit. And then I left at the end of the
wow.
I was so on that. And then I walked out of it and the boys were like, yeah, I don't know if we'll come back. And then Mark had the Wild West tour like 2 weeks later, and he's like reached out. He's like, "Oh, any of you boys interested in going on tour? Bathurst Bathurst, Forbes, and Dubbo. And I was like, oh, sweet. Well, I'm from Blaney. Like, yeah, I'll go. So I kind of changed me. Like, that 2 weeks I sat and stewed. I was like, no, I'll go. And then we went on that tour. And
did all the boys go as well?
Yeah, all the boys. Oh, not all the boys. There was like 4 or 5 of us. So there was me, Gat, Keegan, Kasai, and Paris. So it was a good, like, solid crew. And we got one room, and we all shared beds and stuff. And we were like, wow, this is cool. Like, we're on IWA. We felt like we were a big deal. Yeah. But like, yeah, we had the foot in the door, which was the awesome thing. And then we went on the tour, and then Gibbs wrestled. I think the first night was Bathurst, and Gibbs was like, all right, I'll wrestle you. And I was like, oh fuck. And I was like green as the grass. But like, we worked at the end of the match. It's like, cool. And then the next night, I think he worked Paris. And then the next night he worked one of the other boys, Gad or Kasai or Keegan. And at the end of the tour, he was like, you boys are all right. He goes, you're always welcome. And we just kept going. And then we kind of started, like, IWA wasn't bad, but when we were there, we're like, wow, battle royals every night and the show. And we started asking, like, oh, can we, like, work? I think there was, like, Matt Daly, Alex Titan, Mikey Lord. There wasn't and Randall. There wasn't, like, a big, like, there wasn't any big people. Like, we didn't think there was any big time wrestlers there. But Gibbs, because Gibbs had been over to the States and, like, he knew his shit. Then we were like, well, like, let's see if we can start pushing the envelope and stuff like that. And then we started getting, like, to the shows, and we were always, like, doing extra training, like, at the shows before the show. And we were like, all right, who are we working tonight? Because the old IWA used to get there, and you'd wait, and then half an hour or so before doors, they'd be like, all right, you're wrestling him, and we're like, oh. And then it eventually become like match graphics and like you're wrestling this guy. And then we started like, oh, wow, cool. Little feuds started happening, like cool matches that we always wanted to have started happening. And we're like, cool. And then it started to become like this real big deal. And we were just like, yeah, IWA is where we want to be. And it started rolling into this big, big thing. And then I think it built all the way for probably got a solid year with us. And we went to Fight and Spirit like that. That was our big event. Like that become like the 1000th show. And I think it was Damien Slater versus Alex Titan in the main. Like, and like us 5 boys kicked off the show for the Trans-Tasman title. And Randall was in it as well. And like, we were like, wow, cool. We got like this big spot on the big show. Like, and it felt like a big deal. So like,
did you go over?
No, Paris did. Oh, it was so... Because, like, when I started in IWA, so I was me derailer character, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. And then, like, the Ute Muster happened, and when I changed, it started to become like, oh, yeah, I'm getting somewhere, and, like, the crowd were behind me, my character was, like, good. And then, I was like, oh, I had a feeling, like, I went to the show, and I was like, I'm so getting booked to go over. And I got there, and they're like, oh... yeah, we don't know. It's down to you and Paris. And I was like, oh, fuck, all right, cool. And I didn't want to get my hopes up too much. But then they said Paris. And I was like, it wasn't a bad choice because, like, look at Paris now. Like, Paris back then, like, I was like, Paris was great back then. But, like, Paris is even, like, greater now. But, yeah, it was so, I was like, oh, like, first big show. I thought I was so in it. But no. I had everyone. I had, like, my wife, had all my family, friends, I had probably 20 people, 30 people show up. And they're like, what happened? I'm like, well, I don't pull the strings backstage. That's what happens.
Yeah. I'm not the one that books this show, Mum.
No. But that one cool thing.
I'm like, that's it. Where's Mark Mercedes? I'm going to go speak to the booker. Is that the booker? Who's the head writer?
I think back then Titan was booking all the stuff. Alex Titan was like kind of booking what he wanted. Yeah, I think Mark kind of had his says here and there, but like I think it was more Titan was like, no, I'll go this direction or that direction. So
yeah, right. I thought Mark ran the show.
No, Mark does it. Mark does when he wants to, but like at the moment, it's Randall's got the book at the moment. So and Robert Oxley, they're kind of the guys who book stuff at the moment. So
because Randall's kind of like on again, off again, isn't he? Like wrestling wise, like didn't he retire? He retired and he came back.
Yes, retired last year, come back. I don't know.
Yeah. Wrestling retirement, you gotta love him, right?
Oh yeah, like Mehmet. Mehmet's retired. The Turkish Delight is retired. Come back. Retired. Come back.
Did Mehmet retire?
He says he hasn't, then he says he has. Like, you just don't know.
He's so
But
entertaining.
he's
kid.
he's so over and like just doing the stupidest stuff, and he's just like everyone loves him, but he's just I think he's like more into. I think he's actually doing like trying to take it serious to do like MMA at the moment, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's training like he's like full on committed to it. Like
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to imagine Mehmet, the MMA fighter.
Oh man, imagine all he's like. I blew my mind when he said he did like when he was a kid, like he was this great amateur wrestler, and I was like, what? And then he's like got the proof. He's got the pictures. He's got the medals he's won and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
How did he go in training? Did he pick people up and tie them up?
Oh, I never seen him train. Like I was never, but I know he was at AWF training all the time. Back in the day, like you'd see Mehmet, every ring crew, Mehmet was there, and every training session he was there. He was just like he loved it. I don't know. I think he just lost his passion. I think he says he lost his passion.
Oh, that's a shame, man. That's a shame because he was one seriously talented guy.
Yeah,
like I wasn't into much Aussie wrestling. I was like seeing this guy come up. Like, who's this Mehmet? And then I see the promo, the lisp, and everything. And I'm like, oh, this guy's too much.
He doesn't know how good he is. He doesn't know how good he is sometimes, Mehmet.
Dude, he is incredible. But when you got into pro wrestling, what were some of the things that you found hard? Like you mentioned promos as one of them. Was it finding the character and finding that character's voice that you found hard, or was it the speaking in front of people in front of the live audiences that was the challenging for you?
Oh, I think it was a bit of both. I found it hard to kind of like do a promo, like good example, like Kelly and me with our rivalry. Like Kelly will put out a promo and just, bury my promo. Like I'll let's just say I always try and put over like I'm the champion or I'm the I'm the IWA champion or when I was the Trans Tasman, I was always trying to put that over because it may not mean
make it mean something.
People. Yeah, to me I was like, well, when I used to win like a running race, I'd win a gold medal, and like to me that meant a lot. So then I'm like, now we've got the heavyweight title and the Trans Tasman when I was the champ. I was like, that's like my gold medal, so I've got to make that mean the biggest thing in the world. So I was always putting that over and kind of like talking a bit of shit about him, kind of bringing over like, oh, you're privileged because you're from the city and stuff like that, northern beaches, and I'm like, I'm a hard worker because I'm like from the country, and like then he'd come out and he just goes bang, smack it down, and I'm like, fuck, he just owns me in like everything with that promo. Like it sucks because I hate starting the promo like to try and materialize something out of nothing, and then they've got something to go off, and then you're like, oh, well, why couldn't they start it? Because then I could bury their shit. But it's so hard. But then, so I don't get asked much to do promos because,
always ask to go last, man. Ask to go last, bro.
But the other thing is, I've always been told, so if you're not good at promos, the only way you get better is to do promos. So, I always try to do better every time I do a promo, but I'm never really asked. But then even on shows, we'll go to the show and they'll be like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. Oh, you're wrestling in the main, you're wrestling whoever you're I think last time I wrestled was Rat Daddy for the title. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. We're going to start the show with a promo and tell everyone who I am, who Rat Daddy is. No, it's all good. They've seen the match graphics. And I'm like, yeah, but the match is only for the night. So we should kind of hook them in at the start and then, go to the match. But sometimes they're like, oh, no, we kind of got matches planned and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but I know I'm not the shits. I'm not the worst person in the world to talk on the mic. But I know I get out there and I'll be like, oh, what's going on, St. John's Park? And then I'll be like, always drop the F-bomb or always shit or something. And they hate me dropping the F-bomb and the shit and the count. And I'm like, what do you want me to say? That's me. I talk like that. From the
but they're like, but Chris, not at the underage show.
Yes.
not at the 9 a.m. kids special.
No, exactly. So if you want your kids to know how to swear, just come to an IWA show and Abbott will be in the ring doing a promo and I'll be like, oh, shit. And I'll always say it and I'll never drop the mic. I'll always swear and I'll be like, oh, shit. I just And it's
Oh,
just
shit.
such a bad habit. And they pretty much hear it all. And there's times where I'm like, all right, I got to say, like, do something after my match. Like, especially Jonah, when I worked Jonah. So, like, we were building up to me and Jonah. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And I think I wrestled Rig. And I lost by DQ. And then I kicked the shit out of Rig and kicked the shit out of Warburg. Because Warburg was on commentary or something. And I walked to the back and I was huffing and puffing. I was like, oh, that was fucking fun. And I'm like, all right. And then they're like, go out there. You had to cut a promo at the end. I was like, oh, fuck. Walked back out, did a little bit of the promo and did the old claws up for Jonah to call him out and stuff. But I was like, fuck, I always forget. When I'm clicking, I'm like, yeah, I forget to talk. When I'm in the zone, I'm just like, oh, shit, I got to talk. Fuck. But then sometimes it puts me off too. I'll be like, I can wrestle the match and I'll be like, fine. Like, I'll just work the match. I was like, sweet, got through it. Then I'll be like, oh, shit, I got to talk now. Oh, fuck. So it's like, it's just, I don't know.
That's what you're
this,
dreading throughout the whole match. Is like, fuck,
Yeah.
after I've just had this amazing match, I've got to talk and ruin it.
Yeah.
Not ruin it, but yeah.
It just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I just can't connect. I think that's what it is. It's like I know the fans get behind me and they, you know, we take them on the ride through the match and stuff. But then I'm just like, when I talk, I'm just like, I hate talk. Like, I don't mind being in the ring. Like, I love being in the ring. But like, I think when, you know, it's everyone's quiet and they're looking at you, you're just like, shit, if I fuck up, they're all going to see it, notice it, and that. And you kind of can't come back from it sometimes, I think.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, looking at Australian wrestling, there's a lot of great in-ring talent in the country. Mic skills and promos is where I've seen the I don't want to say lackluster, but that's where the sort of the things stagnate sort of down slopes. But I think, you know, obviously you look at, you know, promos and, you know, some of the other countries like the States, Canada, where pro wrestling has, you know, a lot of the greats around them and having these wrestling schools and so forth. You know, do you find that being in Australia, the Australian pro wrestling scene is restricting to somewhat of a level for some of the Australian pro wrestlers if they're not going out, they're not going overseas, they're not going to Japan, England, you know, the States, but if they're just staying here in Australia, they're not getting that experience that they need to really polish themselves as performers? Or do you think that they can do that here in Australia without traveling?
I think there's enough people who have traveled. Like, I think I heard Bonza say it once when we were up at Newey, and he's just like, he goes, yeah, it's cool to you know, go and travel and stuff over the seas, and, you know, go to promotions and that, but you don't just want to go over to America or Great Britain or Canada and just work any promotion. You kind of want to go there to, like you said, like, learn, better yourself, polish this or polish that, or, you know, like, in a way, like, you don't want to go over there and just go to like a bad promotion where it's just like, I've got a booking for the sake of going over there.
Yeah.
Like, because like there's like Bonza, Moretti, Madison, Robbie, like Gibbs was another one. Ryan Eagles is another one. Like, all these guys have got so much knowledge and talent that if you go to either Newey or you go to PWA and train, because they're the two main training facilities in New South Wales, but they've got the knowledge and they've got, I think they're well enough travelled that like you kind of don't need to leave Australia. But if you do leave, it's more so to like maybe like, you know, make that ascend to like, all right, I'm going out, I'm going to be in the independent scene in America or over in Great Britain or something, and like kind of, you know, try and get your foot out there and like make it over there as a performer, not so much to train.
Yeah, and, you know, was that ever the goal for you? Like, getting into pro wrestling, was it ever the goal to go over to the States, to go over to Japan, UK, and make it something full time?
Like, probably when I was younger, like, I didn't really know what was going to go into it and stuff like that. Like, so, but when I got to an age, I was like, and I was allowed to play rugby league, I was like, oh, I'd like to make the NRL, and like I had a good crack at it, and like, you know, and kind of didn't make it. But then by the time I started, like, I moved from the country to the city, and I set myself up, and I was like, yeah, set myself up. So I've got, like, you know, I've got a job, a house, I kind of got a relationship happening and stuff, and then I'll have a good stab at it. But I was 25 by the time I started, but so I was kind of like, oh, if I would have started like bit the bullet and I was 16, moved to Sydney, I reckon it would have been like, yep, I'm going. But like, I'm realistic about it because like I was like, I got in, I trained, I had bookings and stuff, work crowds, and I was like, not really going anywhere. But then I was like, I would like to make it a living, but then I was like, my age I think played a part. So I kind of like I was realistic about it, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna make a stab at it. Like, and I admittedly I didn't know like there was the big UK scene, the Canada, and the American scene. Like I knew WWE, so I was like, fuck, WWE is like there's gonna be everyone trying to get into
that was
WWE.
the be all. That was the be all and end all for you. Was going to WWE?
Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, I'll get into WWE. I'll be like The Rock. I'll get over there and I'll cut promos, work matches, everything. Then I was like, wow. And then someone said to me once when I first started wrestling, so let's just look at it like there's 100,000 people going for 10 spots in WWE. And I was like, fuck, really? I was like, geez, I've got to be really good to get one of those spots. And like, so like for me now, I'm realistic about. I've been realistic about it for years because like I got my 2 kids, and I'm like, I'm not going to go there. But like I've been over like 2 trips to the States, and like went to a few shows, and then did WrestleMania week and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I'm realistic that I'm not going to WWE. But like, I don't like it. It's not like I hate wrestling or I'm not going to continue to do it. I'm going to like do my best like at my shows that I'm on, like, so people come and see me like, so, but like there's plenty of other guys I know that are like, pining away. Like they want to either go to Great Britain or Japan or America. And like, they've got youth on their side, like, which is good. So like, I hope they do make it like Paris. Like I think Paris will make it, somewhere like he's great talent, Paris.
Oh, absolutely. Kevin Rodriguez has a question. He says, Chris, if you could ride the roads with one wrestler for a year, who do you think you could learn the most from?
Ooh. I'd have to say Cesaro. Like, if it's a WWE superstar, it's definitely Cesaro. Like, that guy.
Bit of a Cesaro. You got a bit of a man crush going there, Cowboy.
Yeah, I love Cesaro. But, like, there's so many, like, I think, like, Finn Balor, like a massive mark for, like, I'm the Fed or whatever they call it, E, or people call it all these other different things. But, like, I think Finn Balor would be a different kind of guy to ride the roads with. Like, you'd learn a lot from him. Like, a Daniel Bryan, like, I think he's another one. Like, I used to like.
Well, he's seen it all. You know what I mean? Like, he's wrestled everybody everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, he would definitely be one you could learn a lot from.
Oh, 100%. But like, I used to look at wrestling and like until I got into it, I used to be like, "Yep, The Rock's the best wrestler." And like now, when I got into it, and I was like, no, The Rock's the best entertainer. He's got the gift of the gab. He's got the look. He wrestles. He's great, and like he connects with the crowd. But I'm like, Shawn Michaels is the best wrestler. Like, I was a massive Shawn Michaels fan. But
Shawn Michaels is without a doubt one of the best that ever did it. Or ever was to do it,
Yeah, and like I watched like all the network specials and stuff now, like Ric Flair. Like I was never a big Ric Flair fan, but then I was like, I can kind of see what he was massive for the business, and then like Dusty Rhodes and stuff like that. But like because I never watched it like back then.
Well, that's the thing. In Australia, we had very limited wrestling. What we got when we were growing up. Let's be honest.
Oh, like 100%.
Like you're what 33, 34?
33 almost.
33, so I'm 38 in a few weeks. So, we're on the similar sort of age, give or take a couple of years there. But, in pro wrestling, like in Australia, like ECW, we never got ECW. We never got, we got WCW and we got WWE or WWF at the time. And even then, like for a lot of years, we didn't even get WWE.
Yeah,
I remember going to video stores and renting videotapes and stuff. And, same with ECW. That's how I learned about ECW, was getting videotapes with Mick Foley's face on it all covered in blood going, I want to check this out. I'd been like 10 or 11 years old coming home and, watching a barbed wire match between him and Seth. And so,
it's crazy. Like, but like now, like the guys who are in wrestling now, like a lot of them are in their early 20s, but they've got so much more of a library to look at compared to like us. Like, because like, out in the country, like you're not You know, you're not sit like I never sat inside. Like you know, it was very rare for us to get the TV because Dad had always watched either the news or harness racing. So we were always outside, you know, running, riding horses, stuff like that. And we were never really big on TV. But when we got the chance to watch TV, and we were like, I flicked it on, and when we caught it, we were like, wow, there's Monday Night Raw. Let's watch that. And then my old man used to be like, oh, this is rubbish. This is shit. Hulk Hogan's the best. And we were like, who the fuck's Hulk Hogan?
Wow.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, he's the best fucking wrestler in the world. And we're like, you like wrestling, Dad? And he's like, yeah, fucking Hulk Hogan. And we're like, well, he's not on here anymore. It's Stone Cold, Triple H, The Undertaker, and The Rock, and Shawn Michaels. And he's like, who are they? Oh, they're pansies. And I used to shit on them. Like, and all these, and then all these years later, I was just like, wow. Like, and I've got my daughter. She's like, oh, who's Triple H? And I'm like, oh, he's that guy. But he used to be like this massive wrestler and that when Dad was growing up. Oh, okay. And then she doesn't get it. That's The Rock. She's like, is The Rock a wrestler? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, The Rock used to wrestle all the time. But he does Jumanji and all these movies now. And I'm like, yeah, but he's transitioned.
Are your kids fans of the business?
Yeah. Oh, Charlotte's like almost 5. And like every night she's like, Dad, can we watch wrestling? I'm like, no, we're going to bed. Like, stop asking. She's like, oh, but like, she's a massive, at the moment, she's a massive Rhea Ripley fan and a massive Edge fan.
Oh wow! Well, yeah, Edge made the big return.
Yeah,
my son is getting into wrestling. He's 4, and he just like jumps up and drops the knees into my chest.
Yeah,
and then I've got to watch out because my daughter, who's 2, will do the quick run in and hit me from behind. So then my wife has to be the ref and count the 3. So
no, I love. My wife said what she said to me. She said, you're not going to push wrestling onto our kids, are you? And I said, no. I said, it was never pushed onto me. I found it. I said, so, like, if she likes it, that's awesome. But, like, I'm not going to say to her, you got to be the next generation wrestler. Like, I'm like, if you don't want to be, if you want to be a brain surgeon or if you want to work at bloody McDonald's or whatever you want to do, I'm going to, like, be behind you. But, like, if you don't want to wrestle, like, I'm not going to say you must wrestle.
Kevin Rodriguez says, "Hell yeah, she has good taste." Yeah, look, that's the same. But the thing is, man, my kids, like my son, doesn't want to sit there and watch wrestling. He wants to do it. Like that's the thing. He'll sit there and watch wrestling for a second. Go, yeah, all right, well, how about we just get down and do it, Dad? Like he just drops elbows and everything, man. Like, but that's the thing, man. It's like I'm trying to show my son little bits and pieces, like without showing him wrestling, but showing him promos and stuff like that. And it's amazing, man. He got captivated by Dusty Rhodes promo, the Hard Times promo. They just sat there and he watched it.
Good promo.
Yeah, at the end of it, he looks at me and goes, "Dad." I go, "Yeah, mate." He goes, "I know Hard Times." I go, "No." I went, "No, you don't. No, you don't, mate." I said, "You've never had hard times, mate. You're lucky."
Yeah, exactly.
He looked at me. He looked at me. He goes, "Dad." No, sorry. He goes, "Dad, tonight, Mum only gave me 1 chocolate biscuit. I wanted 2, and she said, no, you're only having 1." And he didn't say it like as full on as that. He said, "Well, Mummy only gave me 1 chocolate biscuit, but I want 2." He goes, "That hard times, Dad." And I went, "Fuck."
Yeah, they don't miss a beat, eh? Like, I showed Charlotte Macho Man, the cream of the crop promo and the cup of coffee man, and she's like, "Who's he, Dad?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's a wrestler. He used to do crazy out there promos." And she's like, "Pretty funny." And I'm like, "You don't even know what he's talking about," but she's just cracking up because he's got cream and he's got a coffee cup and stuff. And just,
but the thing is, neither do we. We don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
No,
it sounds cool.
It was funny as like you watch him back and you just crack up. But yeah.
So Big Kev says he has 4 boys, 4 sons, and he can't go 20 minutes without one of them dropping an elbow on his back.
Hey, you gotta get stiff. Start stiffing those kids, and it'll bring them into life.
Yeah. Well, I try and I pick my son up for the choke slam, and being 5'6", he's probably the only person I'm going to be able to put a choke slam on. So I'll take it when he gets to it. He's probably going to end up being like 6'10" and be like, "Dad, get the fuck out." But
kids make it good, but kids make it good. I love going to shows and performing, and like. I love that I don't work with the same guys all the time, which I don't like. I like working with the same guys, every now and then, but like I don't like working a long time with them. I'd rather, one match or, a tag here and there.
Yeah.
But like I've had opportunities where, they brought in last time they brought in Rat Daddy. Never touched each other, went out there, had like good 20-minute match, and I was like, fuck, like a guy that we've never touched, never spoke, nothing. We had an awesome match.
Yeah.
And like Jonah.
And you have that connection with some of these guys that just like you can go in there and perform.
Yeah, like
how'd you find going with Jonah?
Oh, he was like, I was like, fuck, he's the easiest guy to ever work with. Like, I went there and he's so easy to talk to, like just playing stuff, and he's just open to everything he was, and he's like, cool, like, let's do it. And then he just goes, and what did he say to me? He's like, just listen, like, I'll direct you when I need you to do something. And like, he called stuff out there, and like, I'm not big on calling stuff in matches because I'd rather, kind of go with a mud map of kind of, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll get to there, and like, we'll do this.
So you would rather have it mapped out than
I
actually
kind of,
going.
I'd rather, but like there's the odd time where it changes, and you're just like, oh shit, we need to change this. But like, so it depends on the person you're in there with, if you can flip it or if you can't. But like, yeah, Jonah was just like, he knew what he was doing, controlled me, controlled the match, the flow of the match, and I was just like, wow, like, and it was probably one of the easiest matches I've ever competed in, like, just so fluent he is with everything he does. And yeah, just like I can't praise him enough, actually.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping he gets a decent run in NXT, man. So
yeah,
I wish they kept it. I wish they kept the thick boy. I wish they really kept the Jonah Rock name though. I really dig it. I
liked it too. Like, yeah, I was like really good on. Like, I just thought it fit him, Jonah Rock. Like it was.
But also in America, like. Yeah, they've never heard what Jonah. Yeah, Jonah. Yeah, I mean, like for us, we think Jonah Lomu, the former All Black. But
yeah,
even then, like Jonah Rock, like that name. I think probably because he had the rock into it. Maybe, who knows?
I reckon that's probably the only reason they changed it. Was probably that. But I was surprised with like Rhea Ripley. I thought they would have kept Demi Bennett. Like, because I was on a show ages ago with her, and like I don't even know how. I think she was like 17, 18 or 19 or something. And I was like, wow, like she was great back then, and now to see her in WWE, and like my daughter liking Rhea Ripley, I was like, oh, Dad met her once, and like I was on a show with her, and she's like, what? She's your friend. I'm like, well, no, hold up, she's not my friend. Like she was on one. I was on one show. Like, let's not make a story out of this, Charlotte. But it's awesome to see someone who you were there with. On a show once to be there. And even Travis Banks, I think I met him once on Newey Pro, and like he was so different back then. Now he's the Kiwi Buzzsaw. I'm like, wow, like that's awesome. His story to where he is now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he came over through the NXT UK brand.
Yeah.
When I first saw him, he is something different. That guy, like, he is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's great to see him over there, and like even like Demi and Jonah. Like I didn't even know who Jonah Rock was until he kind of got brought up from Adelaide for one of our shows, and I was like, met him, hey, how you going, stuff like that. And then I jokingly said in the back to some of the boys, they were like, "Oh, you want to work Jonah, don't you?" And I was like, you know what? There's one day I'll work Jonah Rock, and they're like, "Oh, all right, mate, yeah." And then like all these years later, like I ended Jonah Rock's title reign, so I was like, well, I work with him. I worked with him twice. I was like.
And you went over on him too, so
yes.
It's saying something, man.
Yeah, but, it was awesome. It was.
Yeah, man. So, moving forward into 2020, let's say coronavirus finishes tomorrow. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Who would you like to face in your next title defense?
Well, not Jackson Kelly, because Jackson Kelly's has way too many shots. So on the current roster, I'd like someone like a Sam Osborne or
he's good. He's really good. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, Sam's awesome. Like Sam went away. Like he come in at the Australian Pro Wrestling Gym for a little while, and then he went overseas and went to Santino Morella's school in Canada, I think it was, maybe, or somewhere like I think it was Santino Morella's, and like he come back and like he's just created this. It's just him. It just suits him, like this prize bull, Sam Osborne, so healthy, so wealthy. I'm just like
this obnoxious eastern suburbs twat,
Yeah, you're just like you're like us. But like, yeah, he's probably one guy I'd like to work with, because like when he come back, I worked with him, And like I was like, oh man, like we could so have a better match on a bigger stage, like a Fighting Spirit or like a St John, like because St John's Park, it's like it's a good little venue, but like it's you get your 200 people or so, but it's you don't have the atmosphere like we just did the Rumble show before the coronavirus, and we had like a solid 350 for a Thursday night for War of Attrition, and like that's yeah, that's a good show for us. Like a solid 250 to 350, like on a Thursday night, I was like,
wow,
that's pretty good.
Wow, that's decent numbers, man. Like when I was going to IWA shows, it was like early 2000s, man, and they were probably getting 80 people, 70 people, and I went to. Do you remember a guy who wrestled one of the gimmick Scarecrow?
Yeah, yes, I met him once. I think he come back for Fighting Spirit 1. Like they got a lot of old IWA talent like to come back for one night only, and like Scarecrow was one of them.
Yeah, he had a promotion for a while in the early 2000s. I think the UWA might have been.
Oh, okay, yeah,
or something like that. And
it rings a bell.
Yeah, like he was a nice dude, like really cool dude. But the show, I went to a couple of his shows, man. They weren't, 20 people. It was it's good
hard,
to see that.
It's hard to you go like psych yourself up for 20 people in the crowd. Like we've all been there, but like perform. Like look at them now; they're performing in empty arenas to a live televised audience.
Man.
Like that'd be so hard to do, but like they're doing it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But still, it's good to see that the Australian pro wrestling scene is getting, healthy numbers, obviously take away the coronavirus and that. But I was actually spewing. I just missed the Engadine show. And I actually live around the corner from where that Engadine show was being.
Okay.
Yeah. So, next time you guys are in Engadine, man, I'm going to come to that one. I'll buy you a beer, dude.
Engadine was cool. Like, so I think we did it twice last year, but like the first time they reckon they got like 250, and I was like, wow. And they reckon it was a 250 that sounded like 1,000. Like they were that rowdy and into it. But then I was like, I didn't make that show. Man. Yeah, and then like the last one, we didn't get the 250. We probably got like 150, but like they were like almost kind of sitting on their hands, throughout the night and that. But like they got into it, as the night progressed. But I was like, I don't know. You were putting it over like it was a big show, and then it was kind of, to me, it didn't feel like it was that big a show. But like the first time, I think because it hadn't been there for so long out in the Shire, it was like it was massive.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like next time you guys are back out here, I'm definitely going to be making sure I get to a show very, very soon. But before we wrap up, man, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you, Chris?
Yeah, well, I'm not very good on social media. Like I'm not a big tweeter, but I Instagram every now and then. And that's Chris87A on Instagram, and then I've got Cowboy Chris Abbott on Facebook. So that's the main thing I use is Facebook. Just videos or pictures or share a video of Cesaro or someone.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
And also I've got like merch too. So we've got this cool new thing in Australia, wrestler merch. Yeah, they're awesome. You can find them on Facebook,
let's
Instagram,
get rowdy.
Twitter. Yeah, that's one of my shirts. The other one's like Cowboy Chris Abbott, Country Strong. But like, you can find like everyone. Like, there's a lot of guys who are starting to get their merch out there, and like these guys are an Australian company, and it's awesome. You can
send me the link, man. Send me the link, man. I'll post it up in the group, and people can check it out.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, no worries. Look, guys, just wanted to before we wrap it up, just wanted to make special mentions and special thanks. I'd like to say special thank you to Wrestling Maniacs, Generational Wrestling Society, and WCW Nation for allowing me to stream in their groups. Also, I would like to thank Mikey Mados. Mikey Mados is a good friend of mine, and he is also the guy that creates the lovely artwork that you see at the beginning of my shows. As I said, Mikey's a good friend of mine, and he's very, very talented. And thank you, Mikey, for everything that you do. Also, I would like to say a special thanks to our sponsors. Our sponsors are Signal Studios in Sydney, Australia. Hit up Rafi Tomasian on Facebook. He is a buddy of mine. And Signal Studios is a recording studio, rehearsal space. It makes music, it produces music, it masters music, it does everything for music. So if you're a band, you want to go in and you want to record, or you just want to buy a track that you can write your own song to, hit up Rafi. He'll be able to help you out. Also, Mayan Belts. So Mayan Belts are the best belt maker in the world, in my opinion. So Mayan Belts, if you want a custom made championship belt, or you want your favorite replica championship belt, head over to Mayan Belts on Facebook, or contact Eddie and Ira Williams on Facebook. Also, A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is a company run by my really good friend, Ashley Rodriguez. So Ashley Rodriguez, besides putting up with Kevin's bullshit every day, she makes custom cups, tumblers, t-shirts, hoodies, and keychains, and they're all wrestling related. But she's actually making some stuff that isn't wrestling related. I got a couple of cups coming for my kids, and also, a cup, wrestling one coming for myself as well. Also, but not least, last but not least, I should say, is Immortal Restoning. Immortal Restoning is a company run by another good friend of mine. I've got lots of good friends. Is by Jeff Parthay. Jeff Parthay is restoring belts. If you've got an old championship belt with stones falling out of it, or your belt just needs a bit of a facelift to make it look a little bit fresher than what it's looking, hit up Jeff Parthay on Facebook at Immortal Restoning, and he'll be able to help you out. But guys, look, tonight my guest has been Cowboy Chris Abbott. Chris, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and we definitely want to get you on again very, very soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me, eh?
No worries, man. If you just want to hang back 1 second, we'll come back. Yep. I'll talk to you at the back. But guys, thank you very much. Stay tuned. Coming up next at 10:30 p.m. is 2020 Wrestling, where Christy will be hosting 3 challenges, which is going to be Kevin Rodriguez is one of them, Michael Mados is another one, and I believe it's going to be myself in 2020 Wrestling Trivia. So stay tuned for that in about 20 minutes, guys. But guys, thank you very much. Chris, thank you very much for your time again, and we appreciate it. Guys, we'll catch you again very soon.